We can't touch just now, not yet. We can't shake hands, embrace, slap each other in the back, give each other hugs or kisses, not yet. We can't run up and down the aisles of the church, trip over kids, reach over a pew to greet an elderly neighbor, or scan around for that new couple who were here last week. Not yet. But the peace that passes understanding is not like a virus. It does not need time to infect. It's like the spirit and the wind. It goes wherever it wills, wherever we send it. Through webs and nets and wires to every place, to everyone. And we will share it now. So peace be with you. And may this peace flow through you, flow through our service, and flow to wherever it is needed. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Hank Purse. I am minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and it is so good to have you here with us this morning. Now, before I do anything else, I want you to see, look, we have a new quilt for the first time in 6 months. Hooray! So first, thank you, Suzanne, who lent us the quilt in March, not knowing that it was going to be hung on our wall for 6 months. And also thank you to Monsi, who has loaned us this quilt, hopefully not for 6 months. So thank you to them. I will also want to say that stick around afterwards. You're going to hear more about what's happening at the end of the service, or a little bit before the end of the service. Anyway, but next week, we are looking for, we're going to be doing a virtual animal blessing. So we want you to send us photographs of your pets, your parakeets, your puppies, your cats, your iguanas, whatever you got. Send us a photograph. I'll make sure that that you send it to me. Send it to minister@uucr.net. It'll be in the comments. Anyway, great to have you all here. Now let us light our chalice.
In the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, we gather this day. May the flame we now kindle be to us a symbol of the holiness we seek.
We are Unitarian, Universalist, the Church of the Open Mind, Loving Heart, and Helping Hands.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual service today, celebrating Chalice Sunday. I am so happy that you've chosen to spend some time with us this morning, and I'm so grateful that we have this way to connect and worship together in this very challenging time that we find ourselves in. My name is Dee Dee Rowe, and I'm a member of the worship arts team here at UUCR. My pronouns are she and her. The Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading is a growing regional church serving communities north of Boston. And our mission statement declares that the UU Church of Reading is a welcoming place to nurture and explore individual spirituality, to build a committed and loving community, and to heal the world. I want to welcome you here in this virtual space today. Those of you who might be right up the street from our church in Reading, and those of you who, because of technology, are able to visit from faraway places, welcome. Those of you who have been joining us since we began worship online, can it really be 6 months ago? And those of you who have decided to give this a try for the very first time, welcome. And to those of you who are feeling more than a bit fragile right now, due to all of the disruption, worry, and uncertainty that has been surrounding us all lately, I extend a most heartfelt welcome. If you're watching this live on Sunday, there will be a virtual social hour immediately after the service. It's a great time to connect and check in with one another. You can find the link for this Zoom get-together in the weekly newsletter. Finally, I again want to say welcome. You absolutely belong here today, and I, for one, am so glad you've joined us. Now let's sit back, take a deep breath together, feel each other's presence and love, even from a distance, and focus our thoughts and minds as we begin our service with one another.
Good morning. I'm Mary Cunningham, the music director here at UU Reading, and I'm wearing my chalice necklace this morning, and I've got my home chalice burning to keep me company. I'd like you to sing along while we do our opening hymn, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's got a really catchy chorus, and it's written by a very special person, Joyce Poley, who is a longtime music director at the Unitarian Church in Vancouver, Canada. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sally Lieberman, and my pronouns are she and her. Thank you to our Olivia Mason family for lighting our chalice and for leading our children's affirmation this morning, reminding us what it means to be Unitarian Universalists. Today, Reverend Hank and Katie will be telling us about the symbols of faith that we see when we come together in person in our sanctuary, the symbols that are lined around the outer part of our chancel. One of those symbols is our Unitarian Universalist flaming chalice. The chalice was a symbol created about 80 years ago during wartime in Europe. It was a symbol created to represent safe passage, safe communication among people who were meeting together in chaos in a very frightening time. And if you can think of a lot of people coming together who did not speak the same language, did not recognize the same traditions or same practices, a common symbol made it possible for people to identify those who could help them. That's part of the history of our Unitarian Universalist Chalice. Now, the Chalice was brought to our sanctuaries and to our classrooms about 30 years later, when religious educators were teaching children about the chalice, its history, and invited children to make chalices, probably with the materials that they had in their supply cabinets. That's an activity that we do when we're meeting in person. And if you have a home kit, you have ingredients to make a chalice yourself. Perhaps you already have. Many of us have chalices in our homes that we have made, or that we have purchased, or that we've received as gifts. I hope your chalice, whether it's a chalice that exists in a sacred space or a chalice that exists in your imagination, I hope the chalice for you represents safety, welcome, excitement about being part of something that affirms you and is also greater than yourself. Thank you to many of our friends who shared photos of their chalices and their sacred spaces. Let's take a look now to see how chalices take so many different forms, just like our deeply held beliefs.
Let us open our hearts in prayer. Infinite Spirit of life, what have we learned this week? We have learned once again of injustice against those who are the least powerful. And so we hold up in our prayers this morning the family of Breonna Taylor, who are again dealing with the unfairness of our legal system and the racism that is inherent in it. This week, we have learned of the hypocrisy of those with power. We've learned that many times this week. And we have learned of the death, the untimely death of Landria Williams, who served as co-moderator of the Unitarian Universalist Association from June of 2017 until this past June. 41 years old, someone who gave so much of herself to this beloved faith of ours. We have learned this week that we are human and we are frail, and that we fail and we are easily upset. And may we also learn the truth that it is okay to not be okay. The world is very difficult these days. The roads are bumpy, and every piece of news seems like bad news. So allow us some grace and help us to show grace to those around us, especially when we are tired or frustrated, sad or scared, or just not okay. Because this week we have also learned of our faith leaders acting prophetically in Louisville by providing sanctuary to those in need during their city's protests. We have learned that for the most part, our children are going back to school in person or virtually, and they are doing okay with that. And so this morning we lift them up along with their parents and their guardians, their teachers and all the leaders at schools, and for everyone who is making it possible for them to become educated. And this morning, we also want to celebrate Estela Sanchez, who I dedicated in her family's backyard yesterday. It was good. Now, what did we learn this week? We have learned that we can move forward little by little each day. May healing flow like streams through our lives, sweeping away stones and debris, all that impedes, leaving us refreshed, renewed, and at peace. Amen.
The reading for this morning is Symbols by Amika Mokimi. There, up in the galaxy, are symbols wrought. Symbols are the secrets of life encoded in nature, which man inhabits and must decode to survive. In deciphering symbols of life, man needs wisdom. Hidden within the framework of our universe are sacred symbols, telling us about the infinite powers of creation. Deep beneath the ocean, even down the darkest depths of the earth, symbols speak. Within the forest, signature symbols of the plants are made manifest. Every single thing about our lives are coded symbols with profound hidden message. Below the earth are hidden symbols of the precious gemstones, subtly emanating their secrets to help mankind. Within the tumultuous ebbs of the tides, the surf searches the sand for symbols. Our lives are symbols of the Almighty, scattered all over the cosmos. Symbols are everywhere, if we can but only look for it.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. That's what we say. And that is a lesson that we once again learned and had to learn this past summer. Once again, we saw the world that we thought we knew with new eyes. And we recognized that statues were put up not to honor, but to intimidate. We saw and we asked why our own state flag has an image of an Algonquin Native American, which the local tribes find offensive. And we have heard our Christian siblings wrestle with the concept, the idea of why a Middle Eastern religious leader has largely been depicted as Scandinavian. A picture is worth 1,000 words. All of us have become very aware of images, symbols, and signs. We assign worth to them without even thinking. If you see a red baseball hat with white lettering, that pushes your buttons. While a banner with 3 simple words, Black Lives Matter, pushes other people's buttons. We find ourselves speaking openly about these realizations. We didn't realize what they meant. They meant for the people who put those signs, those statues, those posters up, what they mean to those who see them. Even in our own faith, we went from having no outward symbols of faith in our sanctuaries to, well, sanctuaries that are filled with symbols. But think of those stark white New England meeting houses on town greens. They seem bereft of signs of faith. But of course, having no symbols is a symbol in itself. A conscious choice was made not to erect crosses or to have stained glass windows. But now we here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Reading, we have a number of images. We have the names, I'm looking around right now, names of important people and groups painted on the windows here in the sanctuary. We have a baptismal font, a tray of candles to be lit, and around our chancel, 13 religious symbols. Symbols speak to us on a different level than words do. Much the same way that poetry or music does. A symbol is a physical thing which represents something non-physical, something beyond words. They act as communication shortcuts that convey one or more messages that have been usually learned by both the sender and the recipient. So what about the symbols we have here in the church? Well, Katie and I are going to take a few moments and take turns describing what they mean and why they are important to us. Katie, you go first.
The Zia sun symbol, with its rays pointing in 4 directions, is here on our wall to honor the indigenous people of the land on which we live. The Zia people honor the sun as the father of the people and the source of all life. The 4 directions, the 4 elements, and the 4 seasons are all bound together as part of the circle of life. Although there are numerous tribes, each with their own religious belief systems, we recognize in this symbol the wisdom of those indigenous traditions, as well as the awareness that we're part of a larger natural world, an interdependent universe.
The torii is a traditional Japanese gate, most commonly found at the entrance of or within a Shinto shrine, where it symbolically marks the transition from the mundane to the sacred, between our world and the world of the gods. It should remind us that in all ages and in all cultures, people have ritually created ways to designate places apart, places of peace, places of religion.
There isn't a universal symbol of Islam, especially given the emphasis on not using objects to represent Allah. The crescent, moon, and star began to be associated with Islam originally politically, first as a symbol of the Ottoman Empire and then of Turkey. It has been adopted by many Muslim communities as a useful way to show their identity. So while the symbol itself does not convey religious meaning, through it, we see and honor the Muslim values of devotion and charity. And given the strong emphasis within Islam on creating more equitable communities, we might also see this use of a political symbol as indicating their commitment and our commitment to social justice.
The circle is found in all cultures and has variously symbolized the universe, the sun, the moon, the earth, wholeness, perfection, and peace. The circle represents the symbol of eternity, the never-ending existence. It represents the notions of unity, totality, and wholeness. It also symbolizes perfect symmetry and perfect balance. As an emblem for God, it suggests not only the perfection, but the everlasting nature of the divine.
The Christian cross is a symbol of both the crucifixion and the resurrection of Jesus. It's a symbol of salvation and triumph. It transforms the murder of this religious leader into victory over death and empire. Our Universalist heritage comes from the belief that Jesus' salvation is for all people, an expression of God's tremendous love for every person. This particular cross, given by the Morton family, has been a part of this church for over 50 years. we recognize that it both symbolizes our religious roots and our ongoing commitment to the worth and dignity of every person.
The Bhava Chakra, also known as the Wheel of Life, refers to the endless cycles of life, death, and reincarnation within the Buddhist tradition. The symbol represents the process of being reborn again and again until the soul can reach nirvana. We honor Buddhism because, as in our own faith, we believe that our religious understandings are based on our own experiences. We also similarly value many of the same things, including study and self-inquiry, mindful awareness and loving kindness, combined with active compassion in the world.
The dove has many meanings across cultures and across history. Doves were sacred to Aphrodite and Inanna, ancient goddesses of love. The dove we see has the sprig of olive in its beak, evoking the Jewish scripture. After the devastation of a great flood, Noah released a dove who returned to him with a branch so that he knew the flood was ending and eventually he could return to land. And so in this context, the dove is a symbol of hope and reconciliation after trouble or conflict. In Christian art, doves are also used to represent the Holy Spirit, as well as to symbolize purity, peace, and reconciliation. We honor the tradition that the divine can live in us and work through us as we work for peace and justice in the world.
The Star of David. With the Star of David, we represent our connection to the Jewish faith. It suggests profound human courage and eternal hope. The two interlocking triangles represent the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, creating a six-pointed star, which in turn represents six attributes of God: love, power, wisdom, mercy, majesty, and justice. Also, knowing how this symbol was used during the Holocaust, we are reminded that freedom is a fragile privilege to be guarded and protected.
The Gaia Hypothesis proposes that all living organisms and inorganic material are part of a dynamical system that shapes the Earth's biosphere and maintains the Earth as a fit environment for life. In some Gaia theory approaches, the Earth itself is viewed as an organism with self-regulatory functions. This goddess symbol also reminds us that the image of God as a father is not all that the divine can be. She is the personification of the earth and a reminder that all genders are holy. The women's spirituality movements of the 70s, 80s, and 90s gave us water communion and opened up possibilities for earth-centered and pagan mysticism within Unitarian Universalism.
The Om is a symbol of ultimate reality in Hinduism. It is a mantra uttered by many Hindus at the start of each day. According to the Hindu tradition, the Om sound was a syllable that created the universe. It is the sound of the sacred cosmic vibrations. We have it hanging here on our wall, not only to honor the importance of this ancient faith, but also to remind us that faith should be embodied. Religious belief should be lived out in many ways: intellectually, emotionally, and physically. It reminds us to put our faith into action.
The Taijitu, also known as the yin-yang symbol, is a symbol of Taoism, known as the Way. It's a Chinese philosophy and religion centering on aligning oneself in harmony with the world. So this symbol symbolizes perfect harmonic balance. Neither side can exist without the other. Just as in nature, there is no light without dark, no male without female, etc. The two opposites of yin and yang attract each other and complement each other. And as this symbol illustrates, each side has at its core an element of the other represented by the small dots. Neither pole is superior to the other, and they are in constant flowing relationship, and that's the foundation of the natural harmony of the universe.
The lamp of knowledge. This symbol sits at the keystone at the top of our chancel arch. Thus, it should remind us that the search for truth is central to our belief system. We, as Unitarian Universalists, have long proclaimed that revelation is not sealed. This is a distinguishing feature of our free church. However much truth we discover in the world, we must remain open to new truth from wherever that may come. And although the flame of our own lamp fell off many years ago, the lamp reminds us that our path is not perfect, nor is it the only way, or even the better way, but it is our way and guides us on our journey. So there you have it. So there you have the symbols that hang around the front of our chancel. But let me say a few more words about them. It wasn't always like this. At first, there were no symbols in this church. Behind the pulpit was just a velvet cloth. And then there was a cross that hung there. And then the cross was removed and a flaming chalice image was put there. And then in the early 1980s, 7 symbols were added around the chancel. And now, in the early 2000s, another 6 were added. Every time we add more of these symbols, we get to stop and look and reinterpret what they mean. Because the same way these symbols have no doubt changed for you over your lifetime due to your experiences and your education, so is it for the rest of us as individuals and as a congregation. Their meanings have changed and will continue to change. Because, as they say, it is a poor symbol that has but one meaning.
Our church is supported by all of you in many different ways. Some teach, some bless us with lovely music, and many, many volunteer their time behind the scenes. And even though most make a yearly or monthly monetary pledge, we've always held a Sunday offering to also visually demonstrate our generosity and support. Well, we can't actually pass the plate in our physical church right now, but we can still hold a weekly offering to support the work of our congregation. Since November of 2019, we've been working harder to support the community beyond our walls by giving half of the funds collected each week to a nonprofit organization that shares our UU values through an initiative called Share the Plate. It's a simple yet very powerful way for each of us to help heal the world. Due to this congregation's generous response, even in the midst of a global pandemic, we have donated over $10,000 to 9 worthy causes through Share the Plate. Truly awe-inspiring. Our Share the Plate recipient for September is UU the Vote. UU the Vote is a nonpartisan UUA initiative to engage our neighbors, educate our communities, mobilize voters, and rally around key ballot initiatives. All through 2020, the UUA is supporting congregations and UU organizations in activating thousands of Unitarian Universalists to mobilize for electoral justice at the local, state, and national levels. The stakes could not be higher in the 2020 elections. Directly or indirectly, the issues so many of us care deeply about, climate change, LGBTQ rights, immigration, racial justice, and more, will be on the ballot in 2020. As progressive people of faith, we can seize the opportunity that the current electoral cycle offers us to fight for our values, counter voter suppression, expand democracy, and engage in spiritually grounded, values-based issue conversations with others in our own communities. In this political moment, UUs are called to join forces with all people who want to organize our communities and our nation to #vote love and #defeat hate. To learn more about UU the Vote, go to www.uuthevote.org. There are several ways for you to donate today. You can write a check and mail it to UUCR at 239 Woburn Street, Reading, Massachusetts, 01867. Please remember to write Share the Plate in the memo line if you want your donation to be split 50-50 with Share the Plate. You can donate through your bank's online bill pay feature. Again, if it is possible to include a notation for Share the Plate, if you do so, your offering will be split 50-50. You can also go to the UUCR website, uureading.org. Click on the Donate Now button and choose Share the Plate. You can do this now while we listen to our offertory music or anytime after the service. As always, we recognize that your donation is generously given and it is very gratefully received. Thank you. This time in our service is where we highlight various upcoming church opportunities, and we warmly invite you to become more deeply engaged in our congregational life. All of the details of what I'm sharing with you today can be found in this week's church newsletter. And in the description below this video, you can find all of the ways to contact our Member Services Coordinator, Melissa Martin, with questions. In addition to our regular weekly online opportunities, there are 4 upcoming special events which we invite you to learn more about. This includes exciting news that we will be able to have online versions of our annual Kris Kringle Fair and a new program, Beyond Ivy Cord. On Saturday, November 7th, the UUCR online Kris Kringle Fair will go live. This online opportunity to purchase beautiful handcrafted items like the ones typically found in our fair boutique will be the focus of this sale. All proceeds directly benefit the congregation. If you are a crafter interested in donating any handmade items, please contact the kriskringlefairchair to arrange for contactless drop-off of your donations. All donations must be received by Saturday, October 31st to allow time to include them in the online shop. So now is the time to get crafting. Look for new updates soon. The annual UUCR Fall Grounds Cleanup, also known as the Raking of the Leaves, will still take place this year on Saturday, October 24th. In order to do this safely, those who are able to participate are asked to sign up for a specific time slot in a particular campus area to work in. Please bring your own rake and wear your face mask. Leaf bags will be provided. The sign-up is in the newsletter and below. Many thanks to those who have helped to make our September yard work efforts a success. You may not have been able to take that memorable vacation to faraway places this summer. However, UUCR, in cooperation with the African Community Center of Lowell, is offering you a chance to take a virtual vacation to explore African cultures with a spotlight on Ghana. Join our brand new Beyond Ivy Court event on Saturday, October 24th at 7 p.m. to listen to an illustrated story read by the author, learn how to cook a new dish, and get up and dance to the rhythms of an African drummer, all from the comfort of your living room. This event is suitable for people of all ages. All proceeds will be divided between UUCR and ACCL. Beyond Ivy Court is a new program of UUCR celebrating culture through a social justice lens. The African Community Center of Lowell is promoting responsible citizenship by improving the quality of life and supporting the achievement of African immigrants and refugees in Greater Lowell through educational, social, and cultural initiatives. UUCR members are reminded to save the date for the UUCR Fall Congregational Member Meeting on Sunday, October 18th, 2020 at 11:15 a.m. Look for more details to come. After this service today, our social hour will begin with a general welcome, and then our staff will lead us into breakout groups where we can test out our new pod-based ministry. More than 50 individuals have signed up to participate in our new pods, and we can help get you into a pod too. Just email Melissa Martin, whose contact you will find below this video. Thank you for being a vital part of our congregational life.
Our closing hymn this morning is what we like to call an old chestnut. It was written in the 19th century by Unitarian minister William Channing Garrett, who was serving in Rochester, New York. And for me, it's like a Unitarian travel log, especially fitting for our Sunday where we're talking about symbols of our faith. If you listen to the last lyrics, and you may know them already, it even talks about a town from the Boston area, Concord. So please come and sing this wonderful old song. It sounds along the ages. It sounds along the ages, soul answering to soul. It kindles on the pages of every Bible scroll. The psalmist heard and sang it, from martyrs' lips it broke, and prophets' tongues outrang it, till the sleeping nations woke. From Sinai's cliff it echoed, it breathed from Buddha's tree. It chimed in Athens' market, it hallowed Galilee. The hammer stroke of Luther, the pilgrim's seaside prayer, the oracles of Concord, one holy word declare. It calls and lo, new justice, it speaks and lo, new truth. In every nobler stature and unexhausted youth, forever unresounding and knowing not of time, our lives but catch the music of its eternal chime.
Friends, would you join me as we extinguish our chalice by repeating the words we say each week? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us. The benediction. In your life, may you know the holy meaning, the mystery that breaks into every moment. May you live at peace with your world and at peace with yourself. And may the love of truth guide you in your everyday. Our worship is over. Our service begins. Go in peace.